Hi, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks so much for asking. What is your name, please?
My name is India. What's your name?
It's nice to meet you, India. I'm Richard.
Nice to meet you, Richard. Where are you from?
I am from Brazil. I live in São Paulo. What about you? Where do you live in?
I'm British, but I live in Australia, in Melbourne.
I see. Cool. Melbourne. Is it near Sydney?
Yeah, it's about, well, let's say you can take a flight there, but in Australia terms, it's, not so far. It's like a 1 hour
Ah,
flight.
I see. That's cool. Have you been there before?
No, I've never been. Just because I came to Australia just before the global crisis pandemic, so traveling is the one thing that's just not happening. Uh,
Mm,
in the
I see.
future, I'd love to go. Yeah.
Yes, I haven't been to Sydney either. I haven't been outside of my country, Brazil,
Hmm.
but I'd love to. And that's why I'm here on Cambly, to
Sure.
speak with people, to communicate and sound natural,
Yeah.
to be able to travel, and have a great trip.
Sure. Yeah, and yeah, improving your English really can just help everywhere. You know, me, I go to Korea, the Koreans speak English to me. I go to China, they try to speak English with me. I go to
Cool.
Dubai, they speak English with me. And so I always think
Cool.
if my first language wasn't English, it would be really hard to do
Yeah,
things.
you'd have to learn it.
Exactly. Maybe I would be a Portuguese speaker trying to learn as well. Because
Yeah, it's hard.
I've traveled a lot. I traveled to over 40 countries. So
Over 40 countries?
I have, yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm lucky that English is my first language because yeah, everything is in
Uh,
English.
you have a lot of stamps on your passport, right?
I'm running out of space actually. Uh, I think maybe before 1 or 2 years, I might have to ask them to put some more pages inside. You can send it there, and they
Ah,
add
cool.
pages. So maybe I'll have to do that.
I thought when your passport, were fully completed, you actually had to ask for a new one.
In the UK, I know that the UK they add. I think you can get 10 extra pages one time, and then after that, they expire it, and you have to buy a new one. So it's kind of a good option for somebody who travels
Ah,
a lot.
yeah, cool. That's awesome. I have here a piece of news. I'd like to read it, please, with you,
No problem.
and we can discuss it
Sure.
about it afterwards. Okay, please.
I've seen about this Mexico putting their lessons on TV. It's a interesting
Yeah.
concept. Yeah, it was on some news site a couple of days ago. So yeah, I'm interested to find out more.
That's good. Let me read. So
Sure.
let's get started. So if I make a mistake, please feel free to correct me, okay?
Sure.
Thank you. So Mexico to show school lessons on TV. Mexico is filming school lessons and sharing them on TV as schools remain closed because of the coronavirus pandemic. The country has been one of the worst affected by the virus, so schools will remain closed this year. This means around 30 million students will have to learn from home in a country where only 56% of households have the internet. However, 93% have a TV. The government announced on August 3rd that it will film and share school lessons on TV. Lessons will be on free channels and will play 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with lessons for different ages at different times. For families who don't have a TV, there will also be lessons on the radio. The lessons will be on TV and the radio until December. Maria Melendez from the Ministry of Education told CNN that it was a difficult decision not to reopen schools. She said that TV and radio lessons will stop the education gap, the difference in the quality of education received by rich and poor students, from getting wider. Others disagree, saying that the pandemic will only make the gap worse. For example, it will be difficult for working parents to make sure their child is paying attention to a lesson on TV or help them if they have questions. Schools around the world have different plans for reopening. In Germany, most students have gone back to school. In Japan, some schools reopened on August 24th after a short break over the summer. In Wuhan, the Chinese city where the virus started, schools reopened on September 1st. Okay, this is a good text to talk about, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. So, the first question I would like to ask you, are schools in Mexico expected to reopen by the end of the year?
No, they're not. Because of the coronavirus, I think it's one of the worst countries. So they intend only to have lessons on TV or on the radio. So related to this, I think it's a good thing, especially because a lot of people don't have internet. As the text said, only 56% has internet available. So it's not that huge, right? A lot of people don't have access to it. So having lessons on TV, it's really good. However, the parents have to make sure their kids are really paying attention to the TV, because they can change the channels easily. So I don't want to study, I want to watch cartoons. And so
yeah, you would.
Easy
I think
to get distracted.
I think you would have to sit with your children, wouldn't you? You'd have to stay with them, because if you trust them and you think they want to learn and they enjoy it, that's okay. But if you've got a child that's just not interested in it, then they can try to, change the channel, walk away.
Especially for those parents who need to work, they don't work from home currently. A lot of TVs have a tool that you can record, what you are watching on TV. So, for example, if I would say to my child, I want you to study from this time to this time. I'm gonna record this, and if I see that you didn't study, you won't get, presents, gifts.
But they did say that they're putting it on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you have multiple chances in one day to watch the same thing.
Exactly, but I think to schedule a specific time, it's better, because when you have, it's so disorganized, we don't have time to organize things.
It depends on the family lifestyle as well. Imagine if you've got two parents working outside home and the grandma, who's just kind of relaxed and it depends how the family operates, and whether your family are supportive of education. Some families are just kind of well, I went to school and nothing happened for me, so they just use school as childcare, just so they can.
Yeah, I know what I mean.
Yeah, it's not nice.
I see. So as you said, for example, sometimes some people send their children to school just to get rid of them, right? And unfortunately, that happens. But in this case, especially in Brazil, it's our education system is not that good. So even when kids are at school, they don't learn a lot of things. Imagine at home. So parents need to really study with their children, to pay attention to them and see whether they are studying or not. I think it's so important.
Sure.
As we, uh, what is the word I'm looking for? So, yeah, we already grew up, so we know what it is to be a child. So, yes, I would say in my case, it would be hard for me to study, to pay attention to those lessons. I would go to the streets to play soccer, to do something else.